Hi, I'm Rifki, and I am standing in southern Israel in the middle of the Negev desert. And as you look around me, you might think to yourself, that is the most unlikely place to grow anything, let alone crops. Well, you know what? You're right. But something amazing happened right here in the Negev desert. Israeli farmers invented a technology called drip irrigation that forever changed how we're able to grow food, not just in Israel, but around the world. This quiet desert kibbutz would one day give birth to Netafim, a name that would reshape agriculture across the globe. But what's incredible is that this kibbutz even exists at all. Let's go back and hear how it all began.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a story of the first night.
David Ben-Gurion famously said that Israel's future lies in the Negev. And in 1946, brave young pioneers took the first steps to bring Jewish life to the desert. Against the odds, 11 settlements were established. Or in 1946, 25 men walked under the cover of darkness through the Negev desert to establish their kibbutz on land purchased by the Jewish Agency. After hours of walking, they immediately began building. Trucks arrived with equipment and the 5 women joining the kibbutz. The work was backbreaking, efficient, and fast. By law, they needed to erect the first kibbutz building by daylight to avoid being expelled from their settlement by the occupying British Army. Kibbutz Kelta, now Kibbutz Hatzerim, was established by dawn. 30 men and women stood on a stark hill with only one lone tree on the horizon.
I think this is most important to understand. When they arrived here, all around the kibbutz, not just in the yard of the kibbutz, but all around in the whole area, there was one tree, one lonely tree.
I'm excited to talk about it because if you know a little bit about the Negev desert, you understand that this is some kind of miracle. Why is that? First of all, if I'll open the map of Israel, I will notice that 60% of Israel is the Negev desert. And the Negev desert is not a regular desert like in Sonora Desert, Mexico, or Nevada. Guys, the Negev desert of Israel is, first of all, tight ground. Look, do like that with your foot. It's like concrete. So if it's already raining, almost no rain, and if it's already raining, the rain doesn't absorb to the soil in the Negev desert. We get here dangerous floods. You can see how it slides. More to that, if you'll take sample from the ground in our region and put it in microscope, the first thing you'll notice is that the Negev desert contains massive amount of salt. Imagine what happened to agriculture project if you give the roots a lot of salt.
It's important to mention that when they arrived here, of course, they didn't have any business plan. They didn't know what they're going to do. And the shortage of water was, of course, the most important thing. So in 1947, they planted pipe, 170 kilometers of pipe coming from the area of Sderot in 2 wings. One goes to Hatzerim and one goes to Nirim. Interesting thing is that these pipes were brought from London because during the Blitz, they used it to extinguish fires in London.
Okay.
And then after the war, they didn't need it and Jewish people bought it, so they had the pipes because in Palestine, 1947, to find 170 kilometers of those pipes.
Right.
And by the way, the person who was in charge of it, his name is Simcha Blas, and he, 20 years later, invented the drip irrigation.
the drip irrigation system of Netafim company, the first factory in the world that started to produce drip irrigation system, and today we are doing a revolution in 110 countries around the world with this technology of drip irrigation system. Another amazing things to know about Kibbutz Hatzerim is that today we are more than 40% of the supplier in the world of Jojoba cosmetic oil. In Mexico, Argentina and Arizona, they call it the Golden Desert. And this oil considered from the 90s until today to be the active substance inside the majority of cosmetic products of Chanel, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Veleda. And we produce this oil from those Jojoba plantations.
These ones right
The
here.
Negev is green. The Negev is flourishing. The Negev is profitable. Profitable agriculture in the Negev.
Ruti is sitting by the pipe when the first water arrived here.
Wow.
But the amazing thing is that it's not just September, it's September 14, because she told me it was my 20th birthday and I got a beautiful present. The water arrived at Hatzerim.
Wow.
And this is September 47, but October 47, November 47, November 29, and the UN is issuing the two-state resolution, which the Arabs did not accept and the Jews did, and the whole story of this, of the plan. And the first thing that the Bedouin have done, they broke the pipe, and there was no water. And from November 47 till October 48, the kibbutz was under siege. The whole Negev was under siege.
And here you are today, Rivka, and you honor us with your visit. And from the road, you can see more than 14,000 acres of Jojoba plantations. And not only that, is that right now we are standing in the Jojoba plantation, and you can see that our plants, the Israeli breed, reach to 3 or 4 meter height. If you travel in Mexico or Argentina or even Arizona, you will see that the majority of the plantation of Jojoba reach you to shoulder height. So how Israel from the 90s brought the breeds from around the world, acclimatized them to the Negev desert soil, and improved the breeds to 4 meter high.
I love the story. There's a person by the name of Gedi Netanel that his mother lives in Tel Aviv. And she wants the children to have chickens for the Seder Pesach, for Passover meal.
Right.
But there is no way to bring it to the kids. So she convinced a pilot that she is going to cook the chickens and he is to throw it from the air by above Hatzerim. And he, by mistake, threw it in another kibbutz, in Mishmar HaNegev.
Oh no.
They never got the chickens. Now, I think this story is telling what the whole story is about, what is being under siege, what it means when there is shortage of food, there is no transportation, and so on. No chickens in Leila Seder, in Passover meal.
Wow.
You can see here, this is a seed of Jojoba. The seed, you can see it here, now it's green. At August it will be dry, but full with oil. Then it will be so heavy with oil that between September and November, the seed falling down to the tight ground of the Negev desert. Now, what's really interesting is that right now, all the competitioners around the world that making Jojoba cosmetic oil get from their seed, from their average breed, 22% cosmetic oil. Rivka, right now in Kibbutz Hatzerim breed of Jojoba, inside our seed, we get more than 51% oil. There is no glass ceiling for innovation in Israel. We are talking about food, a climate changing solution, water crisis, a water scarcity crisis. We solve these problems to 110 countries around the world. The Jojoba is a good example how we're changing the Negev desert with this system.
Okay.
So first of all, we are talking about the patent. It's a polyethylene pipe, type of plastic. We pass inside this pipe the nutrigation fluids. Nutrigation, this means that it's water and fertilizing. Now, all the nutrigation fluids passing inside the pipe, and you can see that I cut here the pipe for you to see that inside we can see the patent itself. This is called the dripper. This is the patent we invent. All the nutrigation fluids that passing inside the pipe, entering through the filter, the tiny filter on the dripper, inside the dripper. Now, all the nutrigation fluids pass the structure, in the labyrinth, the structure inside the dripper, and then they go out from tiny, tiny exit holes along the pipe, but right now, not it with high pressure, like you are pinch a hole in your pipe in your garden, but now they go out in a drip by drip by drip rate of drip irrigation directly to the roots environment of the plant in the exact amount needed, water and fertilizing. By this technology and patent, I'm saving water dramatically. I even don't depend on weather anymore. And I'm saving fertilizing. And I can supply the exact amount to the root, directly to the roots environment, so you cannot see here bad weeds.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
And at the same time, the roots environment is flourishing. Unbelievable conditioning, the exact amount of water, the exact amount of fertilizing directly to the roots environment. And this is one of the secrets to get here 4 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters high Jojoba desert plant. In the desert, the plant don't want to rise up because the wind will dry them and they will collapse. But what's really interesting is that in your country, the majority of the drip irrigation placed on the ground.
I was going to ask you this because I was looking at
yes,
that. I do not see
yes,
it anywhere
of course.
in my garden.
All
It's
the
on
visitors
ground.
are asking me, what is going on here? In my garden, all the pipes are on the ground. So how come I don't see any pipe here? So now I can reveal to you. In Israel, we invent to the Jojoba agriculture project, in Netafim company, we invent a new type of dripper, and we almost don't take this out of Israel yet. This is the newest drip line of Netafim company, the Subsurface Uniram system of Netafim. This NASA project, yes, it's like NASA. This pipe is buried 1/2 meter inside the ground.
So this is like this much.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And it's nutrigate the roots environment subsurface. So think about it. The exit is stored up. So the main question, if the exit stored up, how this system not get clogged eventually? Right. I will answer the question in a few moments, but first of all, look, Rivka, if this system is buried 1/2 meter inside the ground, now the strong UV radiation of the sun in the Negev desert cannot do damage to the polyethylene pipe. There is no expire to the system. Secondly, the animal in the desert crazy for seeking and arrive to water source. But now, if this kind of tight ground covering 1/2 meter the pipe, the animal cannot reach to the water source.
And you can see, I mean, this is Ben-Gurion visiting right after Kibbutz was freed in 1948. That's how the kibbutz looked like. You can understand how difficult the situation was. And the war was over, and they started doing what the kibbutz knows to do, farming.
Right.
But from 1946 till 59, nothing grew up here. This is amazing. The reason is that there was salt. The soil is very salted.
Right.
And they had the olive trees and vines and date trees and vegetables. Nothing grew up here.
Wow.
In 59, there was a terrible crisis here. I'm cutting it a bit short because we are limited. There was a terrible, terrible crisis. And they were even considering moving to a different place, to a different site, to join another kibbutz. You see, Haaretz, in 1959, it was decided to desert Hatzerim. They had two general assemblies of the members, okay? There were about 67 members at the time, and there were two meetings that they decided to quit and move. But then Ben Gurion came here, and he said the following: if the problem is only in the site of Hatzerim, you can move, but only south, to the deeper part of the desert. But if the problem is prevailed all around the Negev, then you have to fight and find a solution, and we'll help you. So after two meetings that they decided to quit, there is a third meeting on August 59, and this is the protocol of this meeting. And after Ben Gurion came here, 40 were in favor of staying, 11 were in favor of moving, and 12 abstained. But the decision was made. They decided to stay.
What happened right now on our planet every year from perspective of temperature? Yes, raising up. So if the system right now go down half a meter in the ground and provide direct nutrition on the roots environment, less evaporation of nutrition fluids. So you can understand that Israel and Netafim company already finished to invent our warming globes, the next generation of irrigation system to agriculture. We just don't sell this yet out of Israel.
But the most important thing is Netafim. Netafim is a drip irrigation system, and we have to understand that this poor kibbutz, we produce the first dripper in the world. And today Netafim is making 33 billion drippers a year. All right?
Amazing.
And that's part of their own identity, and that's what brought them to believe in this product.
Unstoppable.
And by the way, in the beginning, there was a great opposition of all kinds of experts saying it wouldn't work, it would be plugged, it wouldn't succeed, you'll lose your money. Luckily, they were wrong.
Imagine that I took out the tiny dripper and make it big. And the nutrition fluids that passing the pipe entering into the dripper through the filter. Very, very advanced filter. But let's open the system and we can see the structure. This is the labyrinth. This is the labyrinth of the new subsurface drip lines of Netafim company.
So it's going like this.
Excellent. So the water usually want to move in a linear way.
Yeah.
But the structure here, because of the triangle labyrinth with all the angle and the sharpness and the gaps, the structure itself changing the linear movement of the fluids to turbulence movement, not one turbulence, a lot of turbulence. And we know how with other parts in the system, we know how to control the turbulence movement of the fluids inside. So now all the fluids, all the turbulence movement bumps against the wall of the labyrinth and not allow to plaque layers to clog it. Plaque layers like you have in your cattle you say, at home, kitchen, cattle. There is calcium inside, right? So there is no calcium, there is no plaque, everything is clean and fluids move freely inside the pipe. So today there is a lot of outsourcing between Netafim company, agriculture company, and cardiologic companies. A new system of drip irrigation based on triangle labyrinth don't allow to plaque layers to clog the pipe. Maybe this system will help cardiologic industry to think about the next generation of stent, you say? Yes, or solution for clogging arteries or blood vessels.
This is the demographical changes in the kibbutz from the day it was founded. Here is a number of members, and that's the number of the whole population. Okay. So in 1946, on the papers, they didn't live here, but there were about 70 members. And today we are about 500 members, about 1,000 people living here, including kids and those people that still, our young people that have not yet decided if they want to join the kibbutz or not. So this is amazing. And when you think about what they went through, the first people, the first founders, so I have a great respect for those people that came and succeeded and, you know, held to the idea.
Against the odds.
Right,
Wow.
right.
There is a phenomena on our globes today. Every year, less and less people want to work in agriculture. It's happening everywhere, guys. It's a really big problem because people need more food. At the same time, less people want to work in agriculture. But in Netafim company and in Kibbutz Hatzerim, we understand that because we look on the world globe from a global perspective. When we designed the plantation, we decided to keep a wide gap between the rows. I can put here another row and get more seeds and more oil, but I prefer to lose a row in the middle, but to invest on special new machinery that Israel invent to replace people that don't want to work in agriculture. So we are using only 3 machines. 3 people, 3 machines. Unbelievable. Now, the first machine we invent is entering this right gap, open a robotic arms with silicone fingers in the end, and gentle vibration on the plants and all the seeds immediately falling down. At the same time, all the seed falling down on the concrete soil, very, very tight. So I don't need plastic nylons like in olive industry. Win, win, win. You see how we take the lemon and make from it lemonade? The second machine arrived and open a robotic arms with sweepers and sweep all the content to the center. But if I'm sweeping all the content to the center, so now I get seed, but a lot of dry leaves and soil and dry branches, right? So what should we do with that? The third machine we invent. The third machine arrived. We put a special system of vacuum and we vacuum all the content, dry leaf, branches and the seeds. And now to the most important pattern. That vacuum machine take all the content and pour that to a big metal pile. This metal pile contain inside a new system invented in Israel of a lot of layers of net moving on net. So all the seeds jumping on the net, but all the dry leaves and branches shred and spread as a natural fertilizing. At the same time, I take the lemon and do lemonade. Win, win, win. This country is amazing. The people of Israel are amazing. And there is no glass ceiling for innovation. Even bad time in Israel, we finish those time becoming stronger and stronger and stronger.
It's hard to believe that where I'm walking right now was once a desolate, abandoned desert. And really, this beautiful paradise that surrounds me began with a question that those brave pioneers asked. And the question was, what can we grow here? And the answer is everything, because this is a garden. It's a Garden of Eden, really. And you know, it's exciting to think about the technology that brought this to life. But the story really isn't just about technology. It's about the people. It's about the people that believed and had faith that they could answer that question and they could make it happen. And if you are as inspired as I am by meeting Israelis with these unique and beautiful stories, I hope that you will give this video a like, share it with a friend, and also take a moment and let me know in the comments, where would you like us to go next? What are the stories that you would like to hear? Because it will be our honor to take you there.